Hello and welcome to my channel, On the Hook Crochet, where we talk about wearable crochet style and let's find out what's been on the hook. Lots have been on the hook. I have been out of town, as y'all know. I haven't been here in a long time. It's kind of strange not talking to y'all for about a week, I suppose, and I wanted to get back with you and say hello and tell you what I've been up to. I hope everybody's had a wonderful week. I know things are a little bit strange right now in our country. We're sort of sequestered in our homes and not working, not going to school. And this is the absolute perfect time to grab that yarn from your stash and try something new. And I think that would be awesome. I have been working like crazy on some works in progress. I have one that's left that I haven't worked on yet, but I do have it in my queue, and that will be the next thing that I'm working on. But first of all, grab your crochet project that you're going to use while you're sequestered and work along with me while we talk just for a little bit. My heart goes out to those of you who are not working. I totally get it. I'm so sorry that our lives have been interrupted by something, but I'm always one that likes to make lemonade out of lemons, and not that it's so wonderful and all that. There are a lot of things that are negative about what's going on, but the positive side is that you have to stay busy and enjoy your time the best way you can. And if your children are home, enjoy the time with your children and give them lots of love and that affection that you wouldn't be giving them if they were at school. So it's a wonderful opportunity for mom and or dad to do that. You won't be going very many places, so you won't be spending much money unless you're online. And I know a lot of online businesses are doing great because people do not want to go out to the stores, and some of the stores are closed. As you know, I've been on a trip, and while I was there, I was in Florida, and there were things closing all around us. Not any gas stations, which is the only thing I was really concerned about. But in the grocery store, they were out of a lot of items, including the infamous toilet paper that y'all already know about. The truck had not come in and was not coming in. So if you didn't already have your toilet paper, then I guess you'll just have to wait. But when we got home, there still wasn't any in our local grocery store. So I suppose that the supply chain has been interrupted. It seems that way, but I think things will get back to normal very, very soon. And let's look forward to that. But until then, make the very most out of the time you have with your family that may be in the house with you. So it's a good time to be inventive and find things to do rather than just play video games. I think it'd be a good time for children to read a book or to read to you, or, there are lots of things that you can do. And I think making the most out of your time is all we can do right now. We just can't do anything else. So grab that crochet project or knitting project and join me while we talk about a few things that I've come up with. First of all, my trip, and I wanted to tell you about that. And it did go very well, other than a couple of things. We were fine. The beach was open, the restaurants were open, but now all those have been closed. I know the beaches have been closed, but the restaurants are still open, but that might change too. I really don't know. But there were a lot of spring breakers where we were. They were very nice to us. We didn't have a problem with them at all. But I think in some areas they were a little bit wilder, and so they were reprimanded and they didn't do what they were told. And so the government offices just closed the beach, and that was that. So I guess they've gone home, and maybe next year they'll have a better time. So first of all, let me tell you about this. This was an email that I received from Lion Brand Yarn, and I had inquired which yarns were available for the HNH 35 discount. That is the code that you would use, and I will put that information in the description box below. lionbrand.com//blue-yarns, and I'll also put that link in the description box. But you can go directly there, see which yarns you can use with the HNH 35 discount, and that way you can make your hat not hate hats with that yarn. And I actually made an order 2 or 3 weeks ago when I first heard about this Hat Not Hate program, And on one of my yarns, they did not apply the discount. So I sent them an email and asked them about what was going on because it was blue yarn. And they said that was not one of the yarns that was included in the project. So that direct website that I just gave you will show you all the yarns that are available with that discount. This is the yarn I was referring to. This is the shimmery yarn, and it's blue, blue, and blue, but they did not include this on their list. And the reason they didn't is because it's a brand new yarn. And I guess they just didn't want to put it on there. I don't know. They really didn't give me a good reason that that wasn't on the list, but I feel like this is blue, and you know, it's dark, dark blue and blue. So maybe that's why, and it could be that they're considering this black because it really does look like it's so blue it's almost black. So that could be what they were thinking. I don't know. Maybe it looks too much like a black and blue hat rather than just a blue hat. So I don't know which reason it was, but they gave me those addresses that you can go to, and the discount is also down there in the description box. So please use that. If you're ordering blue yarn from Lion Brand, even if you're ordering to make yourself something, you can use that discount. But that's really what it's for. It's for the Hat Not Hate project, and be sure to at least make 1 or make 10 or make 100 hats for that non-bullying project that they have going on. The deadline is August the 1st that you have to have the hats to Lion Brand. The address is down in the description box, and the rules are there as well. So follow those rules and send your hats in so that you can participate. I received my March knit crate before I went on my trip, and I wanted to show this to you. I won't make a lot of comments about it because I probably won't be using it right away. It's really more of a winter project, but this is the book that came with the Knit Crate subscription. This is for March of 2020, and it's all the same model inside. She's wearing all the different articles that are shown in here, the patterns that are in here. The membership, and it's also sponsored by Hannah Thyssen, who was with Knit Crate last year, and she left Knit Crate to write a book. And the name of her book, it looks really interesting. I wish I could knit, and I might order it just to support Hannah because I really like her. Her book is called, here's a picture of it, Seasonal Slow Knitting. Seasonal Slow Knitting. And it sounds so interesting to me. I don't know. It might be full of intermediate and advanced patterns. I don't know. But I might buy it just to support Hannah. Looks like an interesting project. And this is the Seeds and Stems cowl right here. And that pattern is actually in her new book down here. It's in the book. So that's kind of exciting. It's beautiful. If I was a good knitter, I could say that's an intermediate or that's a beginner pattern or whatever, but I can't tell by looking at it. I'm not a knitter, but hopefully that will change this year. Hopefully I will learn to knit this year. Now, in the box this month was one of 3 colors, and the Ancient Pines is the yarn that I received, and this is a look at it. It's quite beautiful. It's very, very soft. It's a 100% baby alpaca. It's not a real slick yarn. It's just, and it's very, very thin. It is actually, it's the fingering weight, which is very tiny. And I have been working with fingering weight, and I'm okay with that. It's just so much of it. I received 2 hanks of 400 yards each, and it's of course baby alpaca, 100% wool. Obviously, it's fingering weight, 400 yards. Hand wash, lay flat. So it's beautiful. I have no problem with it. It's just very, very tiny. To me, this is a sock yarn. If you want to look at that, how thin that is. It's a sock yarn. It's even smaller than last month's crate, which had the flirt yarn. It was so pretty. And I'm going to show you a work in progress that I'm making from that. It's a thicker yarn than this. Now, if I was really serious about crocheting a sweater from this, I would order 1 more hank. I would need 3 hanks, about 1,200 yards for a, maybe even just a short sleeve sweater. Of the other yarn that I received last month, I have 4 hanks of Blue Sky. and that is sponsored by Creative Grandma. She was very kind enough to send that to me, and I'm going to make a sweater from it and write a pattern for it. So thank you to Glenda Winkleman at Creative Grandma. I so appreciate that. Very generous of you to do that, but I will be doing something with it, and I'm working on it as we speak. So this is the yarn, again, from Knit Crate in March. Beautiful, beautiful. I like it. I'm just probably not going to work with it right now because of the color. Looking back on it, I wish I had ordered the Dogwood Berry color because it's more of a spring color. I believe I could get away with that even for summer, and I wouldn't mind making a sweater from it, even if it was just a little cap sleeve sweater or something. I would need 3 skeins of yarn though. I'm just throwing this out there. If any one of my viewers or subscribers received the Dogwood Berry yarn and want to swap with me, you are welcome to do that. I love this color, but I think I would rather have the Dogwood Berry. If you'd rather have the Ancient Pines, I will be glad to swap with you. I will send it right to you in the Knit Crate box, and we can each keep our book and everything else that came with it, but just swap the yarn, and then I will go on Knit Crate and buy 1 more skein of yarn, and I'll be all set. If you want to swap with me, please send me an email to Jeannie@onthehookcrochet.com, and I will get right back to you. So we can do that. Whoever wants to do that, I will be glad to swap with you. But I need to know right away so I can go ahead and order my 3rd skein. Then I'll be glad to swap with you. That would be great. And if nobody wants to swap, I'm fine with that. I'll just keep the Ancient Pines, and I'll work on it in the fall. But in this book are several projects that are crocheted. I believe these 2 are crocheted right here. Yes, they are. You can see by the little sign up there. But there's a pair of socks at the top, which I don't make socks, but you might. And then a capelet, which is very pretty, but I won't be making that either. That doesn't look practical enough for me, and I like to make things that are practical, so I won't be making that. But I do love the yarn. It's very tiny though. I have to warn you, if you've got some, it's going to take you a while to make whatever it is. But if you're a knitter, you might want to make some socks with it. There's some socks that you can knit, and they're real cute and everything. I don't knit and I don't make socks, so I guess that just won't work for me. Also in the box were some stitch markers, and those are always very, very helpful. Love stitch markers. And these are for, these would be my guess. So that's what you put on the end of your knitting needles when you're storing your fabric. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not a knitter, but I would say I know those are not for crochet, so they must be for knit. So thank you, Knit Crate. Very thoughtful. I like the Knit Crate box. I'm not always so excited about it, and it's my own fault for not ordering the Dogwood Berry. I should have done that to begin with, but the green looked a little bit more fascinating at the time. It really wasn't what I wanted when I received it, but that's okay. If anybody wants to trade, fine. If you don't, fine. I'll make something out of that, maybe next fall. I have 3 projects that I took on my trip to Florida, and let me show you the first one. And I have something else I want to talk about as well. But this is the Coastal Cotton sweater. I was making it from this. I've shown this several times. Let me get that. There we go. Coastal Cotton, and this was the denim color. It's a dark, dark blue on a white. It looks like blue mohair almost. And then a white yarn. So it's really pretty when it's made up. And I showed you this when I was making it, and let me just show it to you now that I've almost finished. I have one more step to go, and then I'll probably be putting this pattern out for y'all. But this is how the sweater turned out. I have not put the trim around the neck yet, but I have finished it. I haven't put the trim around the sleeves. And I think it's just going to be a very simple trim, maybe even a reverse single crochet. That's possible, and then I can do one around the bottom as well. This does not need a lot of excitement because the yarn is very, very, well, I should say that. The yarn is not very, very busy. It's just busy. And then I used a stitch pattern of a 2-row repeat on this. So it gave it a little bit more interest. I'll stand up and let you see what this looks like. I haven't modeled it yet, but I'll be modeling it probably on Monday. I'm guessing that I'll be done with it by then. The sleeves are made into the fabric right here. They're made straight across at the point where you start them under here, and then you crochet all the way across from here to here, and for the last 10 or 12 rows, I suppose, right there at the top. And while you're doing that, then you shape the neck as you're doing those sleeves. It's not hard to do, but I ask you to do some decreasing on the neck, and where to start, I tell you all that in the pattern. So you'll be able to make this if you want. Now, honest, this is a little bit heavy. I'm not sure this is going to be okay in the middle of summer. It is right now probably very comfortable, I would say. It's cotton, but I've made it fairly thick so that you don't have to wear a tank top under it. And I will not be doing that. And I certainly could if I wanted to, of course, but I won't have to. You can't see through it, which is really fun. I really wanted to do a sweater like that I didn't have to wear a tank top under. So I made this in that vein, and I didn't make it very, very long. I didn't make it long sleeves, so it's not real heavy, but it is a little bit weighty. I used 3 balls of loops and thread. I bought 4, and I only used 3, and I have this much left over, which will have to be wound, of course, to do the trims. I believe I can get them done, and I might have to dig into this a little bit, but I really doubt it. I used 3 full skeins of yarn on this sweater. And this is called my Denim and Cream. I think that's what I'm going to call it. I may change the name, but I don't think I will. And that's the working name, Denim and Cream, and that kind of describes it. So if you go on my Etsy shop, you can find it very easily. But I just wanted to tell you that is how I made this sweater. Now, I went over to my stash this morning and I thought, you know, I would like to make this same sweater with a larger hook and maybe even a little bit larger yarn. Now, these are both a size 4. This is the cream cotton that I made my Golden Cross sweater from. Really love it. I also have it in this turquoise, and I have some purple too, which I don't really want to work on right now, but this is the turquoise. I'm thinking about using this. I have this in purple as well, and instead of making another sweater just like this one in the purple coastal cotton, I thought I would switch over into the cream cotton and make this sweater with a larger hook to make it much more open. You might have to wear a top under it, I don't know, but to make it very light. Now, my Golden Cross sweater, I only used a ball and about a half of this. I have 2 balls of this, which is ample. It's 860, it's 432 yards. So I have 864 yards of this. My Denim and Cream sweater took 3 skeins of 187, so that's about less than 600 yards. And so I have ample of this. I have 400 plus another 400, so I've got 800 yards or more, and that will be plenty to make this sweater from. And that's using this density. I don't know if it will matter with the weight because this yarn is a tad bit larger than this yarn. It's a little bit wider than this. They're both size 4, but you know how there's a huge difference in number 4 yarn sometimes. So that's my thought on that. That's probably what I'll be doing with this yarn right away because I want to make this up for summer. It is so light and so beautiful. And if I make it in an open, more of an open stitch, then it will be a little bit cooler and I hopefully can wear it without a top under it. But even if I do, it'll still be a little bit cooler sweater than this one. This is pretty dense, but if you want a dense sweater and you don't want to see through it, you can try this one. This is okay. And also, another thought, I have lots of thoughts. Also, you could make this Denim and Cream sweater out of a number 3 yarn. And I have enough of this, and this is the yarn that was recommended by Glenda at Creative Grandma. It's called Lorena Colorful. And I bought it at Ice. It's an ice yarn and so very, very soft. It is made of 55% cotton, 45 acrylic. So I've shown this on my channel before. I really love it. It is so springy and so summery. I really, really like it. And if I made this sweater from this, it might be quite a bit lighter. In fact, it would be. It's a number 3 yarn. It's not a number 4. So it would be a little bit less heavy than this coastal cotton. I like the coastal cotton though, and I plan to wear this around. Now I did wear my titmouse sweater in Florida, and on a kind of a warm day, it was probably 73 or 4, and I wore my titmouse sweater in and out of stores and outside. I didn't wear it on the beach, but I did wear it outdoors. And it was so comfortable. I know people say wool is not comfortable, but this was very comfortable. When I bought this, it was a little bit of a splurge, but this is the titmouse. I have one more hank left of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's beautiful. I just like to look at it. It's 75% wool, 15 silk, 10 cashmere. It is not wool and nylon, so it was just so very comfortable. I couldn't believe it. Now, wool and nylon might have been just as great. I don't know. I only had one sweater with me that was made with fingering yarn, and I'm kind of excited about fingering yarn. I know it takes a long time to make something, but it's also much lighter when you make it. It's not as heavy as a 4-weight cotton, which is going to be heavy, and this is even heavier, I think. I think per yard it's probably a little bit heavier. So anything I make from this will probably be with a larger hook, a little bit more of an open stitch, and that might be what I do with this. That might be my next project. But I have some others in front of it. So my next work in progress is a project that I'm making from the Knit Crate yarn, and I have shown this to you before. This has the triple ribbing at the bottom. I really like that. I love the way it turned out, and I love these colors. This is a wool and nylon fingering yarn. They call it sport weight, and I guess you can call it sport weight, but this is what it looks like. It is really, really pretty. This is what it looks like. And I have finished the back, and I have almost finished the front. I have shaped the neck. It's going to be a scoop, kind of a scoop neck, a wide neck, because this is half of it right here from my finger over. The other half has not been done yet, but it's done all the way to the shoulder. So I'm already finished with that. So this is how it's going to look. And I know this is a little bit low, but I'm going to put a substantial trim on this neckline. But this is, if I put that right at the shoulder seam, you can see right about where this is going to fall. And right there, and then I'll put a band around it. And I think I'm going to use the ribbing as a pattern. I'm going to use this ribbing as a pattern for the neckline edging, but also the arms, I'm going to make them as long as I can with the yarn that I have left. This is how much I have left right there, and that should be plenty. It really should be. That should be plenty to finish one side of the shoulder all the way up, and then to add some length to the cap sleeve. It will probably come to right about here, and then I will add a couple inches on each one, maybe make it a little kind of short sleeve. This is a boxy sweater. This is really, really wide. It's probably 8 inches of ease around, maybe more than that. So once I get it sewn up, I will let you know, because I think it's probably about 8 to 10 inches of ease. I didn't intend it to be that big, but honestly, when I chained up, I didn't follow my own advice, and I didn't check it 2 or 3 times to be sure it wasn't just a little too big. And so I just kept going and going and going, and then after I had made the back, I realized it was kind of wide, but you know, I don't mind that. I like a boxy sweater sometimes. I'm making another sweater out of the blue that is sponsored by Creative Grandma, like I said. I'm making one from the blue, and I will show you the progress on that maybe on Monday. Hopefully I'll have more to show, or next week at some point. But the yarn is very, very stretchy. And it's very squishy at the same time. So You have to be careful when you first chain up with a very stretchy yarn like this. Woolen nylon is a little bit stretchy, and it's on purpose. You know, it's made basically for socks, I think, mostly, and you can make sweaters out of it, but you have to be careful not to make them too big. So this is more like an essentials sweater for summer, and I may call it something like that. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but the sweater is very, very boxy, and I plan to make the sleeves a little more fitted so that the boxiness can just be right here, and we'll see how that looks. And that's sort of the way I designed the essential sweater for winter time. I made it out of wool and mohair, and that was a wonderful sweater pattern. Y'all made that sweater. I saw lots of them on my email. We're sending pictures of those, some on the Facebook group, and I really, really enjoyed making that. It fits anybody and everybody, and you can make it fit yourself, of course, but you can put as much ease as you want to in it. And so when you say I have a boxy sweater, it can mean anything from 3 inches of ease to 10 inches of ease, or 12. I have seen some knitted sweaters that were 12 inches of ease, and that is a boxy sweater. But it's very, very comfortable, you know, to lounge around in, or even to wear with a skirt. It's kind of cute with a short skirt. It looks very nice, and I like the look of the boxy sweater with the fitted sleeves. I think that's a nice look. So that is the progress I've made on my pink and white Knit Crate sweater, my boxy essential for summer. So that's the progress I've made on my 2 projects. Now what I'm wearing. What I'm wearing is a sweater I dug out of my closet this morning. It was kind of at the bottom of a stack, and it's called the Foxy Boxy, of all things that we've been talking about. This is called the Foxy Boxy, and I know you can see through it a little bit, but I do have on a tank top in kind of a light tan, so you can't really see a whole lot through here. You can see that I'm under there though, and that I have it tucked in, and I have black pants on, so you can kind of see through this. This out of Lion Brand jeans yarn, and the color is corduroy. I really like it. I really like this. It's so comfortable. I've always liked the jeans yarn. You know that I've talked about it lots of times, but I wanted to show you this. This is the front, and this is the back. This is what it looks like. There's very little ease in here, but because it's so stretchy, I didn't need very much ease. I can just pull on it, and it, you know, it pulls out. It's got plenty of give in it. It's not a tight sweater, and I made it with a little bit of an open weave stitch. I think it's a double crochet maybe with a large hook. You can look at it on Etsy. I think there's the hook size may be on there, and you can see what size hook I used. But I made a little bit of a scoop neck here. It comes over just a little bit because it's more of a summer sweater. And then the sleeves were made kind of longish. I really made them longer than I intended. They come down below my elbow, basically, if I pull them all the way down. I was wearing it at some point with the sleeves rolled up, and I like it like that. I think that's a cute look. I really like that. And it stays where you put it because I did that last row with the smaller hook, and I've explained that in other videos. But compared to this look, this is a little bit more slouchy looking. I like it when it's rolled up. I think it's a nicer look. So I usually wear it with the sleeves rolled up. But it's very cool and comfortable for summer. I like it. It's not hot at all, and it's all acrylic. It's washable. I didn't have to block it. It's a wonderful sweater. I really like it. And it's called the Foxy Boxy, and I'll put a link to it down in the description box if you're interested. But as I did with the denim and cream sweater, the sleeves are crocheted right in as you're crocheting across. So it's very easy to make, and once you finish the front and the back, you're basically done except for sewing it together. So it's very, very simple. I put a very small trim around the neck. It wasn't very much at all. I don't even think I put one. I put one row, I think, around the bottom of the sleeves so that they would stay up when I rolled them up. At the bottom, I don't recall that I put a trim around the bottom. So it's very, very simple to make. So that is what I'm wearing. Now for finished objects, I have one article of clothing that I've finished, and I will be releasing the pattern I think on Saturday. I've already written it and I'm testing it myself. I'm just making sure that everything in there is accurate. It's not a difficult pattern. It's not going to be expensive, and you will get an email in your box that tells you you have a special discount, just like I do for every one of my patterns. And you can use it for this pattern or any other pattern in my Etsy shop. I have probably 29 patterns in there now. After I put this one out, it'll be 28 or 29 patterns. So there's plenty to choose from, lots of yarn possibilities, lots of hook possibilities, and the sizing is yours. You decide how big the sweater is going to be, and it will fit you because you will use your measurements in order to make it. Now, I do have some shawl patterns on the Etsy shop, and they're shawls, and I think I have a couple of scarves out there, so obviously those are not sized. But you can use any size yarn and hook that you want with those. I do not give stitch counts unless it's just totally necessary. I really don't even know if I've done that, but you make your own stitch counts. That's usually how I approach that. So that gives you a lot of flexibility in making the pattern. Now Crystal is modeling this for me. Come on over here, Crystal. And she is modeling this beautiful sunrise shawl that I've created for Easter. And I hope we're able to go to church on Easter. I don't know if we're going to be able to or not because of the restrictions of moving around in gatherings of more than 10 people. Obviously, Easter service would be more people than that. So that may not happen this year, but I went ahead and finished this. I started it before all the problems arose in our country, and I wanted to go ahead and finish it. I finished it on my trip while my husband was driving, and I thought Crystal could model it for me because she has on white velvet, and that is such a beautiful backdrop for this particular shawl. I made this shawl from mohair that I purchased from Ice. Y'all have seen me use this mohair in conjunction with fingering yarn to make scarves and to make shawls. I honestly, look how much I have left. I made a whole shawl of that. There's still that much left. Now there are 500 meters on here. It's a size 2 yarn, and it is 10% mohair, 15% wool, and 75% acrylic. So it's mostly acrylic. You can wash this. It says wash and lay flat, which is fine. Mohair you're not going to be washing every Saturday in wash day, but I really like the feel of this mohair. It is very soft. It is not scratchy. To me, it's not scratchy at all. So I made this shawl for Easter, and what I've done here, and I showed a little bit of this last week when I was working on it, but I made the initial triangle and several different stitches inside the triangle, and then I made the border of the triangle and growing the border and increasing at the center of the triangle and at the ends to make this delicate border here that is different stitch pattern. I use different stitch patterns on here, and in the pattern I will write down the ones that I use, but you can use any that you want, as long as you're increasing at the ends and also down here at the V. Now what I wanted to do here and what I did differently, I did not increase at the point of the V. I increased on either side. And what that does is it softens that V. I don't like shawls that come down in a straight V, so I created this so that the increases would be on either side of the point. And that way it gives it a little bit of a soft edge around there. And then around the actual edge, when you finish with the shawl and make it as big as you want, you can make it huge if you want to. This is not a big shawl. For me, I don't wear big shawls, as you know, but you can make this as long as you want to. From end to end, you can make it very, very large. And after you decide that you've made it large enough, then you put the edging on. The edging is not stitch counted. So you start, and when you get to this point, you start up here at the corner, and when you get to this point, you decide where you want these to fall. I think I had 1 stitch difference on one side than the other. Nobody will notice that, and that way you can make the shawl as large as you want. You don't have to worry about how many stitches you have when you start your edging. The edging is done in treble crochet. I've done trebles, doubles, half doubles, singles. This is all mixed up to give it more interest. And then the mohair is also graduated in different colors. There's a gray, a blue, a purple, coral, pink, and then it starts over again. I'm telling you, it's really quite gorgeous. And on this end is a very deep blue, which is down here. So it kind of matched up. As you can see, I didn't mean for it to do that, but that's how it worked out. And then I edged the long edge as well because it was just not finished enough for me. So I put a tiny edging on that. And that's how it looks right there. And you can wear it all different kinds of ways. This is not a very, very long shawl. I'll take it off and show it to you. This is what it looks like from end to end. On the end, I've made the ends round, which is, you know, my trademark. I like that round end on there. I do not like a pointy end. So I did that. Here it is across, where you see different stitch patterns, and then over here to this end, which matches the other end. So I really am pleased with this. I know that Easter is kind of iffy right now, but you can also wear this with a pretty white t-shirt out to dinner. You could wear it with that, and a pair of blue jeans if you wanted to dress it down. A pair of nice pants, you know, nice black pants. This would be really, really pretty. Over a black dress too would be very striking as well. So there are lots of ways you can wear this. It's very, very light and soft. That's why it's an Easter shawl. It is not for winter time, although you can wear it in the winter. But it is just strictly mohair. It's very, very, very light. So I'm publishing this pattern on my Etsy shop. I'm calling it the Sunrise Shawl. And you can go out there and take a look at it if you want to. If you're in the community, you will receive an email from me with a special discount. If you want to purchase the pattern, you can use that discount on this pattern or any other pattern in my shop for the duration of the discount code. So just know that you can use it on any pattern that you want. I'm really gathering lots of patterns out there, so I have something pretty much for everyone. This pattern will be another week in the works. I should have this out by maybe next weekend, and you can, like I said, you can use any type of yarn you want to on this. I just wanted to be honest about how heavy this was. But I'll be modeling this for you next week. I'll wear it, and then I'll put the video out for it on Saturday. The pattern will come out on Saturday. You can purchase it if you want. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's everything I had to talk about today. I'm excited to be back. I'm glad to be back at my home where I can just crochet and kind of hole up for a little while. I don't have a problem with that at all. And I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. I know it's going to be very, very quiet. I was standing out front on my porch this morning, and there was no traffic. Usually it's just one car after another, people taking their children to school, people going to work, and there wasn't anyone driving by. I was just amazed. I sat on my front porch and absorbed some really nice sunshine. I hadn't seen the sun here in quite a while, so I sat out there and I absorbed some vitamin D, as they say you're supposed to get that. So I was out there getting my dose this morning and enjoying the quiet. I miss the hustle and bustle of people going to work and school, but it's okay. We'll all come out of this just fine, and in a few weeks, if not before that, I think we'll be back to normal. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your time with your family. Here's my crochet hook. Somebody asked me again about this. This is a PQ clover. I always use this to open and close my videos, so I'll use it right now. Join me next time to find out what's on the hook.